What is up everyone, and welcome back to new video. In this video I'm going to give my final thoughts on Enhancement Shaman, talents, Legendaries, Covenant, Conduits and stuff. And the best variety of specs so far. If you like my videos, consider subscribing because that will help my channel a lot, and if you have any questions feel free to comment. So by saying that, let's start the video. So as usual, let's begin with the talents. So in the first row I've been testing all three and they all were decent, but the best one I found is Forceful Winds, especially because of the legendary items that we are going to run, so it is going to be a very useful talent. Second one, best choice is Storm Flurry, and Ice Strike is kinda second choice, but it still doesn't have the damage to cover it, so better stick to Storm Flurry. In the third one, I'm going to use the Earth Shield always because it's giving quite decent amount of heal, and if I'm fighting against the monk, I'm going to use the Static Charge because I'm going to need to stun his illusions and pet as much as I can because they are going to deal quite good amount of damage. In the third one, the Elemental Assault is option because we are going for the Forceful Wind and Storm Flurry, so yeah, this one is the best in this row. The fifth one is, like I said, optional. Feral Lunge is a very good mobility one, but if you know that you're going to be killed in a stun like versus rogue and stuff, you're going to use the Nature Guardian. So yeah, just between these two, but mostly I'm going to use the Feral Lunge because mobility is very needed to Enhancement Shaman. In the sixth one, I'm going to use the Sundering because as before it's dealing quite good amount of damage and it's incaping the enemy for 2 seconds, so it can be used as semi-interrupt or stun. And the last row is pretty discussionable because Elemental Spirits are now pretty good, but they are RNG because you have there is always going to be spawned 2 Elemental Spirits instead of 3. And if you get the one that gives you nature damage, it's going to increase your Wind Fury proc and you're going to deal quite good amount of damage. So this one talent is gambling because if the nature one doesn't proc, you're going to fuck up. The Earth and Spike is pretty good for the consistent damage, and the Ascendance is the best one for the burst so far, so in 90% of situations I'm going to use the Ascendance. For the PvP talent, this is by default the best combinations: Wheeling Waves, Shamanism and Grounding Totem. If you wanna change something like versus 2 melees and you wanna cleave them, you are going to use the Ride of Lightning instead of Grounding Totem because Grounding won't help you much versus 2 melees, and Counter Strike Totem can be a good option as well, especially versus DK. With his millions of pet, he won't be really able to see this totem and he's going to deal himself quite good amount of damage. Sometime when you know that you won't be needing that much heal, you can go the Thunder Charge and use the Thunder Charge plus Shamanism plus Ascendance for the very quick burst, and yeah, that's it pretty much about the talents. My Covenant choice is going to be a Ventir. Chain Harvest is dealing very good amount of damage, and second effect is that it can heal me and my ally with like a big chain heal, which is very good in situation where your healer is controlled, and also Door of Shadow is very good spell for mobility. I have chosen this because I'm going to run all kind of content like raids, mythic pluses and PvP, and Ventir is best choice for that. If you are running purely for PvP, then I suggest you to go Necrolords because that shield is going to be a very good and helpful for Enhancement Shaman as we have lack of survivability. And if you are focusing on mythic pluses, then you should go Night Fae because they are best DoE damage Covenant. And for the Ventir Conduits, you wanna go with the Nadia Mistblade and you wanna stick to the left side of it, but more about that and details I'm going to talk about when Shadowlands actually get released and I finish up the Covenant stuff. So about the legendary items, there is a 2 that are my favorite so far, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, are going to match these talents. So first one is the head, the Doom Winds, which says dropping Wind Fury Totem grants you 100% 25% chance to gain Wind Fury weapon and increases Wind Fury weapon damage by 25% for 12 seconds, and its cooldown is every minute. And using that with the forceful winds, it's going to be a very powerful one. And a second legendary that is also going to fit this build and be very powerful is the Legacy of the Frost Witch, the Bracer, which says consuming 5 stacks of Millstone weapon will reset your cooldown of Storm Strike and cause your next Storm Strike to deal 15% increased damage. And using that with Storm Flurry and Elemental Assault is also going to be very powerful. So that is the combination of two legendaries that I'm going to use for sure, and that are guaranteed going to be very good unless they get nerfed, but let's hope it won't. So that is it pretty much. Everything for the beginning of Shadowlands about Enhancement Shaman is covered, and there is a last thing that I wanted to mention on what should you focus about the start of the Shadowlands within the first 2 weeks. Well, that is the dungeon, the Spires of Ascension. And the reason you will want to focus that is because there is a lot of useful things. First of all, there is a legendary item of the Doom Winds, which is one of the best legendaries for the Enhancement Shaman, and luckily we can get it within the first week. Also, there is very good conduit called Focus Lighting. You can get a good weapon there and very good haste trinket. And as in every expansion, haste is going to be our main stat. So you will want to get this one, which also increases your speed for 16 seconds. So this trinket is going to be a very good and useful in Shadowlands. So yeah, that's pretty much about this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. If you like my videos, please make sure that you subscribe, because that will help my channel grow a lot and keep me motivated to create more content. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next.